Happening right now downtown Atlanta in what's become the epicenter of protests on night 8 outside of Centennial Olympic Park here on Marietta Street. These protests are also prompting some difficult yet meaningful conversations between parents and their kids talking about race.
That conversation is so hard, and I absolutely hate having to have that conversation with my son to let him know that he will not be treated like everyone else. He is not the same, unfortunately, according to everyone else.
And it's really basic. You treat people the way you want to be treated, and be kind and be thoughtful.
Those were some of the parents we talked to out at the protest today, or yesterday that was, Jeff.
And they say with the age of social media, it is inevitable. It's a conversation that has to be held, and not an easy one. 11 Alive's Tracy Amick Pierce spoke to a family and a therapist for some tips on how to handle it.
He said, I learn more on TikTok than I do in school. And that was powerful for my 11-year-old to tell me that.
Especially right now, when images like these of protests, police brutality, and riots are being shared across social media for users of all ages to see, even kids. Charlotte Hodges' 13-year-old daughter also gets all of her news online.
Basically, what I've been seeing is just police attacking people, or just police trying to kill people, or people. I've been seeing a lot of protests. I've been seeing the good and the bad.
The riots that are going on, they're burning buildings down and just messing up stores.
So much information and so many images from so many sources. Therapist McKinney Austin has a word for that.
Overload. You know, kids right now are dealing with a lot.
She says watching others be traumatized causes something called secondary trauma.
For our family, this is trauma for everybody. And right now we're living in the midst of the trauma.
So how can parents help? Austin says to pick a time every day for everyone to check in.
What have you seen? What have you read? What's going on, and how are you processing this information?
Hodge says they are big communicators, and conversations on race in their family started years ago. But as the social climate changes, so do their conversations.
The conversations for him are more like, all white people are not bad. All police officers are not bad. There are just a select few who do bad things that give the entire population a bad name.
So she'll continue to monitor their social media where she can, with the hope that the information they're taking in can be used for good.
To be mindful that you're not projecting that all people are bad on your white neighbors, or to make assumptions that all white people see us in a negative light, because that's not realistic and that's not how I want them to be and exist.
Austin says the more exposure your kids have to what is going on through social media and television, the higher risk they run of experiencing this secondary trauma, especially since we are still navigating through this pandemic. She says if parents have any questions, now could be the time to seek professional help.